What's up, everybody? Welcome to a very special episode of EZPZ Podcast. Special episode, Spring Awakening discussion with Lydia Hagins. What's up, Lydia?
Hi, everyone.
It's just Lydia and I because we went on a trip to Chicago this weekend, so we're just going to recap our experience at Spring Awakening, the first music festival outside of the state of Iowa that we went to this year. I don't know.
No.
Yeah, huh? What else?
What do we do for New Year's Eve?
San Francisco, but it wasn't really a music festival. Yeah.
Okay, I guess you're right.
Yeah. So we went to Cosmic Kingdom. You already heard.
No, wait a second. No, yeah, you're right.
We went to Cosmic Kingdom, and that was my first special episode of EZPZ Podcast I'd done in a while. We did that on the field. There's just no way we could have done EZPZ Podcast in the field, right? I mean, the security and just the way that, our day was scheduled, there's just no way. We went and got lunch. We went and got an Uber, went straight there pretty much,
Yeah, it was back to back.
Literally, yeah, totally. So, yeah, let's just dive right into it. We stayed at the Wyndham Grand, Chicago Riverfront, downtown Chicago, which was like a 15-minute Uber drive from the festival grounds, right?
Yeah, it wasn't perfect, but we weren't actually there for Spring Awakening. We were there for Joe Rogan, who was at the Chicago Theater. So my primary, idea in booking that hotel was to be close to the theater initially. And then, one thing led to another, and then we were putting a music festival on top of it. So,
well, we were talking about going to Joe and then going to an after party, Spring Awakening after party, but it just didn't make sense when you looked at the ticket prices. Like, so Zed's Dead. Okay, let's just dive right into the after parties. Gareth Emery, $15. We could easily have done that.
Who?
Yeah, right. Well, I don't want to say it like that because he actually had an okay set at Ultra. We watched the live stream. We had a live stream of the live stream where we were chatting about it for a little while here on Easy Peasy. Also, there was Chami doing an after party, Tiesto, and Zed's Dead. Yeah. Zed's Dead sold out pre-sale, special Zed's Dead code instantly, which really sucked. And that was the one that we wanted to go to. Every other one was interesting to us, but there was just not one that we were dead set on, right?
Yeah, and when it sold out, we already were kind of excited to maybe see some music after all. So then we said, let's just go for it. We'll just do it, and we can still catch some of these heavier hitters, people that I don't even think are on some of our other lineups this summer. So it all worked out fine.
Yeah, totally.
Although Chami was playing during the day at Spring Awakening, and after seeing his set at Spring Awakening, I probably wouldn't have minded going to the after party, but,
See, that's the thing with Chami. I feel like I saw him I was leading up to seeing him at Forest, I believe, 2016. He played at Sunday night. It was the last set I saw on Sunday night. We didn't even go to Big Gigantic, I think. It might have been, it was 2016. We skipped out on Big Gigantic on Sunday night. We were so pooped from, if you're going to know about Electric Forest, there's a party Wednesday night, then you party all day Thursday, and then you go to music Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then finally Sunday on the fourth day, you're just dead.
No.
Right.
I don't need to see you Big Gigantic for the 1,000th time.
Played the same exact set since 2013. But anyway, yeah, what I'm getting at is he killed it, just absolutely killed it at Spring Awakening. And you're right. After seeing that set, I would have loved to actually go and see his after party set, which I believe is at the mid. I'm not 100%. I don't have those right in front of me. I should definitely get on that.
No, Zed's Dead was the mid.
Zed's Dead was the mid. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, well, that place is just a little bit bigger than Woolies. I'd say it's probably 12 to 1,500 people. So, them selling that out in Chicago is not a surprise, even at $50 a ticket. So that's the reason right there, too. So for one day, for Friday, it ended up being about $100 after fees to go to Spring Awakening and see, full day's worth of stuff, which we didn't end up catching the full day. We'll get into that here in a little bit. But for $50 extra, we got to see a good chunk of Zed's Dead.
Yep.
So,
well, not enough.
Not enough. That's the point.
We're trying to play it safe. We're trying to play it safe. And I'm glad that we did, but now I have this, longing in my heart to see Zed's Dead again very soon because of that. So, because I just, got teased with their set, and it was looking amazing. But, we made the right choice. We went there for Joe Rogan, and we made it to the theater with plenty of extra time. So, we did the right thing, but it was a hard choice to leave that set because it was looking pretty cool. So
yeah, for Joe Rogan, we'll get into it, but we ended up leaving a little bit too early, but better safe than sorry, just like you said. So Spring Awakening, we had to get our 1-day single Friday GA ticket in will call, right? So we get there and it's chaos. I mean, there's just cops on every corner. There's security everywhere. It was crazy. And we were walking around. We go up to the front of the entrance that we got dropped off from the Uber through a Costco parking lot. Like a lot of people were getting dropped off / picking stuff up at Costco, then walking. So we get there and we get told that will call's around the corner. So we go around the corner and we're walking past so many cops. I was actually pretty surprised. So I'm like looking into the festival grounds and you can see like the stage is pretty crazy. Like it looks like EDC stages, like huge, right? Like, so we get to the will call, we get in line, we get that. It ended up not being too bad. Like the lines weren't that bad at all. The general crowd, like, seemed kind of weird before even getting into the festival grounds. Before you even get in, like, there was just like a lot of bros. People didn't know what to wear because the weather was supposed to be 60 degrees all day. Ended up being closer to 70 with the sun shining on you. So it just felt like the vibes going into it. I was like, what the hell are we getting ourselves into, kind of, because, and on top of it, we did have some waiting in lines and we didn't get there with enough time really to make sure and ensure that we were going to see Minnesota, right?
Right.
So Minnesota was starting out our day at 4:30. That's who we wanted to see. But we ended up missing their entire set.
Yeah. By the time we got there with the traffic and the line, which was not terrible, but it took a little bit longer than I guess what I was hoping. By that time of day, I guess I just was being positive. I thought, oh, they'll have this down pat, like they'll have this moving. But I always forget. I forget every single time that a festival in the middle of a city, the security is tight. The security is basically unrelenting. The crowd that it draws is usually younger, drunker, dumber people who don't go to festivals a lot. So it's just like a lot of factors. Basically upon arrival, it was obvious that there was just like a lot of very drunk younger people. I mean, that's
what I was getting at.
We're not old, but I'm saying like early 20s or even younger.
Not even 21, right?
Yeah, or younger, and not really the same type of crowd that you see at like Forest, for example, which is sort of an extreme example, of course, because Forest is just such a unique place that's drawing a really heady, kind of hippie type crowd for the most part. But these people were just the opposite. Like it was very just city, like people that just traveled there and they only go to this festival once a year, or they've never been to a festival before and they're just checking it out.
They're going to the college, they're 18, 19, 20, they're going to the University of Chicago or whatever, you know, and yeah, this is the biggest thing of their June, probably. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's exactly right. A lot of these people probably don't even have cars to get home to their home city, or even if they live just in a suburb, their mom and dad have to come get them, kind of thing. You can just tell, like, it skews a younger crowd, like you're like in less experienced. We don't need to call them dumber, but like less experienced for sure. And we'll get into that when we start chatting about our first set that we actually did to get to catch was Getter. But before that, let's get into the lines for the beer. I mean, it's Line Fest 2018. We know this. We should know this better. Just like you were just saying, every year it seems like Electric Forest is that first music festival usually, right? So when we get to Electric Forest, we're like, what the heck? We're not used to these lines. Why are there lines? Well, we got kind of a little bit of wisdom underneath our 2018 belts, because now we know again, okay, lines, come on, you got to account for that.
Well, Electric Forest lines are not bad. I don't remember waiting for a drink for more. Usually there's not really even that many people in line for a drink, because a lot of people just frankly are doing a variety of substances there. I think a lot of people are, who knows what, you know, They're not really interested in drinking, or they already got their fill back at camp.
I guess what I'm thinking of is like just general line to get in. That's always horrible from GA Maplewoods for Forest. And then also the line for the bathrooms usually is pretty bad at Forest. But I mean, every year has gotten better. What I'm getting at is, yes, this is getting us warmed up for lines, and like the fact that we have to account for that time. Mm-hmm. So we waited in line. I mean, Getter starts coming on. He came on 15 minutes early. which is interesting to me. I mean, they were ahead of schedule by 15 minutes. That's a huge chunk of time.
Yeah, it was really frustrating for me because we had already missed Minnesota, and I'm like, okay, that's all right. That's a bummer because we were kind of trying to make it, but okay, it's not the worst thing. But like Getter was really important to me. That was one of the main reasons where I was like, let's go ahead and buy these tickets because I really like Getter, and
he's not on any of our festivals, like you had said. Minnesota, we had just conceded to like, okay, we're gonna miss some of Minnesota. That's what we thought, like 15 minutes of their hour-long set. So yeah, we're sitting there in the beer line, which literally is not moving. They literally had a person, a freaking woman at the stand ready to take orders, which she really wasn't, just ringing a cowbell whenever they would get tipped. That was her job. She didn't like just get you a beer or help you out there in any way. Her job was just ringing the cowbell when they got a tip. So there's one dude for like a line working it, and it was like 3 people for like a 40-foot like table. Like it just did not match up. There was a guy sitting there after you had left because you decided like, oh yeah, I want to go see, I'm like, get out there, go see Getter, I'll come find you. And you finally were like, okay, good, I'll do that. And I got the beers. There was a guy just sitting there vaping in literally a line that he could have been taking beers. He was just taking his break, vaping.
I don't know. I don't know.
So yeah, this is where the annoying parts stop really for me.
I agree.
Right here when we finally get our Coronas, which honestly, Corona Extra, it's a decent beer. It's better than like a Busch Light or like a Bud Light even. That was $15 for a 24 ounce. Not bad. I mean, you're going to spend a crap ton of money. That's the thing you have to like kind of just like get used to and be okay with here in the city, like you were saying. Yeah, not too bad. So you and I spent $60 to get 8 beers, 4 each, really.
Yeah, I didn't think that was that bad. And you might as well be getting 2 beers at a time anyway. So it's kind of nice that they had that option because, frankly, that's how I operate. I'm like, you brought us back 4, didn't you?
Yeah. And a boxed water.
Yeah, and a boxed water. So
$64. They were like anticipating me to give them a tip, I'm sure, and I didn't. I honestly didn't because of how slow it was and how that woman. I was like, I have money.
Yeah, why are you tipping? Like, yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
Why do people keep? I mean, that is courteous, but we were standing there for like 10 solid minutes. It didn't even seem like it moved.
I was in line for 40 total minutes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so because we got in line about 10 minutes before Getter was going to go on at about 5:05 p.m. Getter went on at 5:15. I met with you at about 5:40. So close to 40 minutes, yeah.
It's crazy.
Which it's not the end of the world for me. You could see Getter. It just wasn't like you were close
I just
enough.
wanted to be done in line. At that point, I had been in line for this amount of time. We already had missed Minnesota. So just me feeling anxious. I'm like, I need to be done with this now. I need to be moving on to the reason why we spent the money to even come here. And here I am about to freaking miss it and be standing in another line and missing it. You know, we could see it, yeah, but that's not the same as getting up there a little bit, being square and vibing like with the music. I'm being
actually seeing his facial expressions when he's about to.
I'm being distracted with, you know, whatever is going on in this line. So it was nice to get that over with. And kind of as to what you said, I agree. When the annoyance stopped, at first I was a little worried. I'm like, is this how it's going to be the whole time?
Right.
Like, hopefully this wasn't a mistake. But as soon as we got into there were some definitely overly fucked up people like in that crowd. But like, I just decided I was just going to laugh about it. I wasn't going to let them bother me. Like, it's funny. Haha, like Shaun and I can just make a couple little jokes and like not be bothered by it. Like we knew it was going to be like this. It's an experience. It's a different experience. It's not for us, you know. It's different.
We said it. We literally said it. After I got back with the beers, I started having to get some beer in my system. I started feeling a little bit better about like the dude bros with the train of dude bros that run by us and then like nudge our arms, like scrape our arms. Like I would get fine with that because, you know, I finally had 2 beers, hanging out with just Lydia. We're watching Getter, who like killed it at Electric Forest 2016, I want to say. Killed it at Electric Forest 2016. Then later that year, killed it in Puerto Rico. Well, kind of. No one killed it that night.
That was a weird
The venue sucked. The Dead Mouse was not great. Yeah, I mean, well...
Well, I really enjoyed it. I still think his performance at Electric Forest was probably one of my favorites. And it could have just been like my mental state or whatever, but that was obviously better. But I still thought I really enjoyed his set at Spring Awakening. And at first it was kind of that just like typical kind of DJ music, almost like, but then later he transitioned into his like a little bit weirder style and played some of his songs that I really wanted to hear. So I think he was just warming up the crowd. He just didn't want to jump. He just didn't want to scare people who don't know, who don't know his music off by jumping especially with a crowd like that, jumping into, which is actually why I might not have enjoyed his performance in Puerto Rico very much. Cause he probably was like, I can't play that stuff here. These people are just here to see like EDM. Like I can't, because he does have some weird songs and they're a little different, not your standard EDM.
His graphics were recycled a lot, which I didn't really love. I mean, they were legit recycled like a ton. I mean, it was just the same like Getterwood, like Hollywood type, like cartoony graphics, and it would just like flow and just keep flowing, which is fine. It's just like, I mean, he had like probably 8 minutes of graphics for his hour-long set, which is kind of annoying, but not the end of the world. Like you were saying, he didn't really play much off of Rip and Dip EP. He played 1 track, I think, maybe 2 tracks. He did play his new single, Colorblind, which is really, really solid. It just didn't pack the punch, though, I'm not going to lie. So his volume was like turned to like 6 in like then we go over to Alice in Wonderland, which we'll dip into here in a little bit. She played right after him at the opposite stage, the Equinox stage. He played at the Solstice stage, which we'll get into the stages here in a minute. But she was like turned up to 100 compared to him being turned to maybe like 12.
Well, and
right?
let's
like,
just say
so
there's a reason.
Louder.
There's a reason for that.
What?
I mean, first of all, they're in the city. You can't be as loud.
But why was she just sounded so monumentally...
Because her volume probably takes precedence over his, which is the more minor stage.
I don't know. The Solstice and Equinox are equal stages. They're 2 headlining stages. And if you look at the headliners, that's definitely the case. So let's talk about the Solstice and Equinox stage, right? Like the 2 main stages they had there at Spring Awakening. I mean, they weren't even labeled. You literally could not tell like at all. One of them had like sun rays / like orange and red like composition to it. The other one had like purples and blacks, which, okay, I mean, I kind of can get that's the Solstice with the like sun rays and the reds and the oranges, right? And then the Equinox with the darks and the blacks, but still, like, it's not even like labeled at all, which I thought was pretty annoying. We legit did have to ask like a couple festival goers.
No one else knew either.
Right. You could even ask the most sober Sally Joe right next to you, and she was like, "Oh no," like.
Nobody knew we figured it out, obviously.
Well, yeah, obviously, because Getter goes on. You can see Getterwood. He did like what everyone's gonna end up doing all summer is play Kendrick Lamar, like 3rd song in, and then play Cardi B. Like they go from Kendrick Lamar to Cardi B. And then Avicii, yeah, rest in peace. And they, that's fine. That's less so annoying. But like Kendrick Lamar's album, I like it was my second favorite album of last year, 2017, just behind Sam Gellatry's Escapism 3. But people, come on, let's get a different rap album. Like there's so many great rap albums coming out. Let's start remixing other things. It's like he's recycling summer 2017 stuff at this point. But let's get out of Getter. He did fine, I would say. I wouldn't ever say he did anything special in my eyes, except Colorblind does sound pretty good. Just didn't pack the punch. What do you think?
I'm not much of a critic. I had a great time, and the fact that you played some of those songs that I was waiting to hear is good enough for me. But no, I don't think it was like it wasn't. No, I can see what you're saying.
You can see the difference between Alice in Wonderland, who was literally eye widening, jaw dropping.
Yeah, I really enjoyed her set. I liked her anyway, but that was a really cool performance. I enjoyed every bit of it. The stage production just at Spring Awakening in general, like the crowd may be a little turdy, made some of these things that we already complained about a little bit, but I can see that they put a lot of money into their stages. We don't see stages like that at the festivals we go to really, because those panels, I mean, the stages were basically like very wide paneling. Yeah. With that leave it open to whatever. I mean, it could be just a color, it could be flashing lights, it could be someone's graphics, that their own personal like artist graphics that are going up there, and it kind of wraps around the stage in a crescent type of a shape, and we just don't really see that at any of the festivals we go to, because one, I mean, Forest they just don't spend their money on that. That's a little, I mean, we'll see this year, but in prior years it's just not really their top thing. I think they do a lot of lights, a lot of lasers, and then they do two side panels that are some sort of decorative.
They rely on the
thing.
headliners to bring in their own equipment. So, for instance, Bass Nectar is not letting the openers all day use his equipment at Ranch Arena, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, totally. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you can see Spring Awakening spent that money on the stage presence for that Solstice and Equinox stage. Gigantic. I mean, I've never seen a bigger stage in person, I don't think. I mean, where else could I have seen one? Riot Fest, maybe, the only other big festival I'd gone to besides Electric Forest. So it blew Somerset out of the water. Somerset just has those giant banners, right? And that's what Forest usually does. I mean, at Sherwood Court, for instance, they have the giant banners with the Electric Forest logo, or in the Sherwood Court, I believe, like an owl sometimes or something right across the top. But yeah, they focus more on the banners, less on the lights. This was just like you were saying, paneling. Crazy paneling, and it was really, really eye-opening when the sun was finally setting for when we get into Chami. But first, let's talk about that Alice in Wonderland set in more detail. She played High, my song of the summer, High featuring Trippie Redd. That song is fire.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. She really had a great performance. I enjoyed every song and every transition. And one thing about Spring Awakening that I noticed was one of the positives, I think, of everyone being like so drunk is that if you actually care, you can pretty easily, without being in people's way, just like kind of scoot up, because people are leaving so much room in between them. At least during these daytime sets that we were seeing, no one's really like crunched up like it feels like, at least at some of the other festivals we've been at. And I'm just not really one to like shove past people and stuff. I'm just probably not going to do that,
especially if you're not drunk. We weren't really that drunk the entire time, just because the beers were pricey. That's about it. But if I get a little bit beer in me, I'll push past peas.
Well, not me. I don't like doing that. And I guess when it's just you and I, it's more practical. But oftentimes we're with like a whole group of people. And I'm just not going to be that person that says, I'm going to take these 5 people and we're all going to go stand in front of another group of people who were there before us. Like, no.
Yeah, I mean, that's respectable.
So, point being is, I didn't feel like I had to do that at Spring Awakening. Spring Awakening, I could still scoot up there in between people because people were leaving so much space, so I could comfortably maneuver up and get much closer than I do for other people's sets in the past. It felt like, so that was kind of a nice thing. So during Alice in Wonderland is where I first noticed that, because we did scoot up with a couple of acquaintance or friends of yours.
Yeah, so shout out to the homie AJ who works at Wells Fargo with me. He was there out in Chicago, actually for Spring Awakening and Joe Rogan, and then he ended up doing the UFC the next night, and then he did Spring Awakening yesterday on Sunday. So he had a jam-packed weekend, yeah. But before we get into moving up forward, I want to give a shout out to Spring Awakening for the 21 and up section, which takes up both the left and the right side of each big stage, I believe. At least the Equinox stage, which is where we stayed most of the night. We just caught Getter at the Solstice stage, and that's it. And then we went to the Equinox stage. They had like a section just for 21 and up. So like even though this is an 18 and up music festival, not 16 and up, right?
I don't know.
I mean, it's probably 18 and up. They gave that respect to the people that were going to be spending a ton of money on this alcohol to get up close, like get really close, honestly, to the stage, just because you had your own little section. So we ended up hopping it right before Chami and getting like yelled at, which is kind of funny.
Well, we hopped it twice, so they were probably getting a little... I mean, I'm not going to walk all the way around. It's crazy. It honestly didn't even occur to me really that it was 21 and up. Like, yeah, that makes sense, considering I showed my wristband to get through there. Yeah. But I wasn't even thinking about that, but I guess that makes sense. You wouldn't want people hopping the fence, because if you're not 21, I guess, then you're not supposed to be in that area.
Yeah.
But it was an intrusion. I mean, I needed to get over to the other side quickly. To
get with our homies and go up.
It is quite
close.
Crowded there, so I wasn't going to walk it took a while to walk around, so.
Yeah, so Alice in Wonderland opened up with Awake. I want to say that. It's the last song on her album called Awake that she just released this year. It's really, really, really good. May even make it into my top 10 albums of the year. Still unsure. Not going to be listening to it too much, though. I mean, for the rest of the summer, except for that High song, because we're going to be seeing Trippie Redd at 515 Alive. And I hope he plays it. EDM crowd. I mean, it just makes sense for his DJ just to flip the switch and turn that song on. But yeah, that's just getting back to what you were saying with Getter and now with Alice in Wonderland. These are two artists that we had not seen or will not see, on any other festival lineups. They're not going to be at Oshega. They're not going to be at Forest. They're not going to be at 515 Alive. So really, really awesome that we bit the bullet and decided to go and see them. So yeah, her set, probably my favorite set of the night, and that's only because we didn't see all of Zed's Dead. But moving forward, we ended up going to the restroom and getting another beer here during like a little mini intermission, which really wasn't an intermission. Chami came right on, but we ended up taking a small break and going to get a beer and stuff. And yeah, we went to the bathrooms, but the bathroom line was really, really awful right by the main stage, which makes sense. So if you just ran across the field to the very back area, which they had like Electric Forest level bathrooms, right? There was so many. I mean, if you could literally just walk in and go around the corner of the porta potties to the back corner and you can get into any of them. So talk about what you found over there.
Yeah, thankfully there was really no lines. There was just so many that there wasn't a whole lot of lines to be had. So that was nice. So I'm glad we figured that out halfway through the time of being there, because the lines by the stages were just like, I can't even wait in this. They're not even moving, again, back to, it's not even moving.
You would wait, like we could wait in line by the main stage bathroom. In the time it took us to wait in line and go through that whole line, we could have literally have gone all the way to the back corner, gone to the bathroom, got a beer by the beer tent there, came all the way back, and you still wouldn't have even gotten into the bathroom.
Yeah, probably.
But that's weird. It's so weird to me that they didn't have any lines like at all in the back corner. Like, how did the festival do?
I don't think a lot of people were even probably paying attention. Just like us, they were just toggling between the two main stages. I didn't even know those were back there at first, but I assumed there had to be. I'm like, let's go see if we can. There has to be more bathrooms than just this, obviously. So, but yeah, when I sat down into my stall, I saw a leather wallet, like a men's wallet, in the urinal part.
Which is just to the right?
Yeah, and I just thought, oh, crap, how did that get there? At first, I assumed someone had probably, like, stolen it, raided it, and tossed it, because I don't know how you would get your own wallet in the... you just must have had to be so drunk or it flipped out of your pocket or something. Like, when you turn, maybe it got caught. I don't know. But there it was, wet, obviously, probably had been peed on or been soaking up whatever fluid was in the urinal. And at first I'm like, oh, well, someone already raided it, so I shouldn't, it's worthless. So I'm not going to touch something that's been in pee. And then I thought, well, there was kind of like some baggies sticking out from it. And I thought you should just look first. You can sanitize your hand afterwards.
We brought sanitizer. I want to point that out.
They did have sanitizer in pretty much all the ones, though, actually. They were on that. So... Anyway, I did open it up with some toilet paper, and of course, like someone's multiple credit cards, their driver's license, there was like an insurance card, and some baggies of some substances.
Illicit substances.
in the wallet. So obviously, and like a $10 bill. So obviously, this person just lost it. No one else has bothered to touch it or whatever. So I have to take it back. We have to.
The two Joe Schmoes that went in before you, after him.
They probably thought the same thing, just pissed on it or something. I don't know. They weren't going to touch it. They were probably drunk too. Awful. So I took it with a wad of toilet paper and just like held it out, waited for Shaun to get done, explained that same story, and we ran it up to Lost and Found. I don't even think I told the girl that I handed it to that. I mean, what am I gonna...
They had so much hand sanitizer. They had two gigantic,
they're probably touching
Germexes.
So much.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. Just set it on the counter like it's someone's shit. I just said, hey, I found this in the bathroom. Yeah, it has someone's driver's license in it. So like we had the guy's name and everything. So here you go. So I hope he found it.
I'm not worried at all. I guarantee he found it.
I hope they did it. I don't know what that festival would be up to. I hope those were good people. I hope they didn't just say, oh, this is pissy and like throw it away or something. I would hope not. We did remove and properly dispose of the illicit substances, of course, because I didn't want Mr.
Luke Parada or whatever his name was to get in trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
Michigan license. But I don't know his last name. It was Luke something. Yeah, I mean, Good job. You
have to do it.
You got some good karma, but like
you have to do it.
Well, you have a good story about that happening, like great karma happening to you in 2016.
Yeah, I owed it to the karma pool, I guess, because someone back when we used to vape, I had a vape, like a nice vape, and it was the first day of forest, so that would have been really crappy.
Dressed
for me
up as Thor
to lose it. And we went running out of the forest, and it just
into Maple Woods. I mean, we're on the way back to camp just for like a moment. You had forgotten something, or you wanted something for like the night. You wanted to like cover up or something. So
it flipped out of my pocket. I must have forgotten to buckle it or zip it. So when we were running, it like flew out. And I noticed it when I got back to camp. So this is obviously a very short timeline here. I noticed it by the time I got back to the camp. When we were running back, you said, let's just check lost and found. I said, there's no way. First of all, someone's probably not returning it. And second of all, there's no way it's there yet. Of course not. And we did just check. And just by some grace of someone probably was right behind us, walking out. It does make sense, but it's just like, how lucky is that someone turned it in? I owed it.
There's a lot to be said about last year, 2017. I mean, our best friends got married, but 2016, there was just so many magical moments with like just that. And there was just, there's other things too. We don't have to get into it. We've already done a deep discussion at some point in time talking about Electric Forest 2016. I think it was our pre-Forest last year or something. Anyway, let's get back on track here with Spring Awakening. Chami comes up. So you turn that in, you get some brownie points, some good karma on your belt loop. And then back. On what?
Ran back to the 21 and up area, and Chami was pretty much killing it. It was really fun to watch.
Yeah, I had rediscovered my love for Chami's actual music. Like I said, he played up that Forest set, and it was a little bit like, I wasn't super into it. It was Sunday night, like I said. These are these Sunday night sets that just like I can't get into because I'm just so dead from the weekend already. But I do remember Nick Gandy, friend of the show, you know him, co-host, loving that set at Electric Forest. I just was not into it. That 2016 Sunday night set, weekend one. So he's just murdering it, and he has like the craziest, coolest graphics. Like Alice in Wonderland had some cool stuff with the red lighting and her A and W and stuff going crazy, flipping, flapping on that giant screen, those paneling screens. But Chami had like rain, like it looked like rain was coming down, and he had his name flashing, and it was just awesome. And he played a lot of that EP that came out in 2016 that I absolutely love. Killed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. We could have gone to that after party and probably had a great time.
Yeah. I'm glad we didn't though, because like you were saying, overstimulation that day. Because Zed's Dead comes on, and we saw 15-20 minutes of them before we had to dip out, and Zed's Dead was straight murdering it.
Yeah, it was awesome. I really do like them.
Down.
Mm-hmm. I really do like them, and it was a bummer to have to leave. But we caught our Uber, we made it back. I don't know how much we want to talk about Joe Rogan, but...
Yeah, let's talk about it. Joe Rogan was life-changing. It was the best comedy set I had ever seen. He had an opener named Antonio something. Chicago. Yeah, excuse me. Chicago native, really, really solid. Then we had Tony Hinchcliffe, the Pony Boy. You want to talk about his set?
Yeah, he was really funny. They all killed it. I had an amazing time. It was great to finally see Joe, someone that we've kind of idolized for so many years, in person, and see his stand-up, very raw, very funny. I'm like, oh, some people are probably really offended right now.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about any of his jokes. His special, which was recorded in Portland, Oregon, in mid-April, right around 420, I believe. But he recorded that special. It's all this content, and he has like probably 5, 10, 15 minutes, I'd say, new content since then already, building up and trying out in these awesome shows. And it was this at the Chicago Theater. It was amazing. It was like, so if you think about all of our Des Moines listeners or anybody that's been to the Hoyt Sherman here in Des Moines, all the sculptures and the beautiful architecture, on the inside, it's like a cathedral almost. The Chicago Theater like takes that times 1,000. It's just, every little piece is just super, super pretty. Beer prices weren't bad. The restrooms lines weren't horrible, especially since as soon as Joe finished, he dropped the mic essentially. I ran down there and had to go pee. I refused to go to the bathroom during Joe Rogan. I didn't care. I was not going to do it.
Oh, I didn't go either. But.
Yeah. I do want to say too, the Chicago Wyndham Grand Chicago Riverfront, the hotel we stayed at, walking distance, literally around the corner.
Yeah.
So if we ever wanted to go there again, see Joey Diaz or see
Ari Shaffir. He's not my favorite guy, but
well,
I don't
whatever.
think he would play a theater that big. I don't think he's
Really?
No. I don't think Joey Diaz would either.
Joey Diaz would with Joe, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think either of them. They're club size
yeah,
people.
I guess you're right. They're bigger than...
Ari Shaffir could probably play Hoyt Sherman, but not...
Not Funny
Chicago.
Bone. Like, he would sell out Funny
But
Bone.
not Chicago theater. The capacity is way too high.
So I don't want to get in any of his specific jokes, but, like, I do want to say... He really, really was raw. He really, really could have offended people. He did so much so that in his set, he built out multiple times where he kind of said... He, like... role played the role of somebody that was probably offended by him, like, and he would really grind on it. Like, it was just really crazy. I mean, you see him and you hear him on his podcast and you hear how real he is. He's a real effing awesome dude. He doesn't hold any punches on his podcast, but I mean, his stand-up, it was just like, dang. Like, at a few moments I was just like, whoa. Like, I wasn't getting offended, but I could feel like some people in the room. You know, like the girlfriends that only are going there for their boyfriend who listen to the podcast and watch the UFCs. You know, you could feel it.
Yeah, I agree.
He did a really good job though on this like not focusing on a certain like person that like a subgenre of like people that annoy him. Like he didn't just focus on women or just focus on men or just focus on vegans or just focus on whatever else, right? Like he did such a great job. He covered a lot of ground. His set was pretty long, right? Like an hour and a half, about an hour 15.
It always feels long when I'm in there, but when we got out it was only 12:45. About
1, yeah. And they went on it. I guess you're right. Yeah.
So it seems like really long when you're in there, but when you get out, it
was a solid hour. You're right. So his stand-up special that Netflix, which is coming out in September, that is going to be a lot of this material that we just saw. Joe Rogan murdered it. We ended up going and getting some Dobros pizza and beer and just going home passing out. Really, we were like, just like you said. I got up at 3 a.m. Friday morning because I had a coughing fit and I was just anticipating going and I had a lot of things to like tie up beforehand. But
we drove, we went to a music festival, we left and went to a comedy show for someone that made us like really, lots of adrenaline and nervous.
Right.
Yeah, we were shot. So we did.
Yeah.
Overall, it was like an epic day and we made it to everything and we managed to stay sober enough at Spring Awakening to fully enjoy Joe and I had a really great time. We didn't go to any after parties. Part of us was like, you were looking at StubHub for like those Zed's Dead tickets, but $70. I was really surprised they weren't more. $55 after fees, pre-sale. $70, 75 on StubHub is not too bad day of. But we decided not to. We decided to keep our brains intact and keep our bodies healthy for the next day, which we got to see your family, which was really, really remarkable. And then drove home Sunday, and now here we are. Gearing up for Electric Forest 2018. Life-changing. Electric Forest, always, always life-changing. Year 5. Got the Year 4 in the Forest pins. Shout out to HQ who actually made us whole. How cool is that? They didn't do. That was what was going on all along. Everyone was going to get those pins. They were just too dumb to like know that for sure. So then they thought, oh, well.
So good thing you used the loyalty code and you got the back 40 for 5 people because we ended up getting 5 4 in the Forest pins. That is really cool. I'm never putting that on anything. I'm never going to like lose that. Has like a little like rhinestone in it, but looks like a diamond. It's really, really cool. Yeah. Now this has been Easy Peasy, special episode 2 of the year. I'm just going to call it special episode Spring Awakening discussion. Talked about our going to a music festival in the city, which, just not my thing. I do prefer the camping festivals. You have the Pre-Electric Forest 2018 podcast to look forward to before we head out, get on the road at 3 a.m., 2 a.m. on Wednesday morning next week. So you have that to look forward to. It's probably already out if you're listening to this. So get on to TheEZPZ.com. You can follow us on The EZPZ on Instagram, Twitter. Follow me at Shaun S. Johnson on everything. Lydia, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at LYDDZ. Or at The Retired Human. Yeah, The Retired Human for the fresh organic memes. Check us out on YouTube. If you're watching the YouTube video right now, you can see exactly her handle. This has been Easy Peasy Podcast, special episode Spring Awakening, and we out. I need you to do like a woo. Woohoo!